Ewzavo ahaye juicy news. Bema obibia akwaba. Latest hot kwa eramede bremo. Na answer na ensumni nyina beba no se wunya subscribe ya bomodi ya se ube subscribe to channel. Da wa like video no give us a thumbs up na fi share ba wo fufuro so da wenye biwe na wo ensemo ekoso ewo Ghana be mo hadam. Afi yehwe eye ensemo abeto yepono so. Yinti eye sankomo ya aba abeto dwa yinti eye sansebi mainti.
Now, Doc is a policy analyst and also a natural resource governance advocate. Is this designation we are giving you sufficient to proceed with our conversation, or there's something else that you think we should know about you to properly set this conversation in the right context?
Well, I think it's sufficient. I've been working in the sector, when I say the sector, the extractive sector for the past 25 years. I happen to have been the lead consultant for the Africa mining analysis for Ghana. I did this work for the Minerals Commission, sponsored by the UNDP. And so I come to this conversation with some understanding of how the sector works.
Sorry, once again, you said you consulted for the Africa mining.
I was the lead consultant for the Africa mining, what do you call it? Africa mining vision gap analysis for Ghana.
Okay. Africa mining vision gap analysis for Ghana. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Which assignment focused also on the small scale mining sector and its contribution to domestic revenue mobilization. It will surprise you to know that in spite of the fact that the small scale mining sector at the time was contributing some 40% of total national gold production, the sector's contribution to domestic revenue mobilization was less than 1%.
Okay, that's interesting. I think that this comment then sets the tone or the context for this conversation, which is very important, which is where we were before and where we are now. Now, Doc, you have been following this back and forth between Gold Board on one hand and the IMF report. In fact, it's not necessarily a back and forth, but IMF puts out a report, Gold Board disagrees, and tries to set the record straight. Tell us what your understanding of what this whole issue is.
You see, for a country to be able to harness the full benefits of its natural resources, it needs to approach it with a vision and a strategy.
Right.
The efforts will come at a certain cost, especially in the case of Gold Board. It inherited a situation that it is trying to resolve. If viewers will recall, sometime during the tenure of the previous government, the Vice President visited the United Arab Emirates and found out that the Emirati authorities had imported gold worth $7 billion that year from Ghana. Our checks, and when I say our checks, the Ghana EITI checks with the Bank of Ghana revealed that in actual fact, according to Bank of Ghana records, we had actually exported $2 billion worth of gold to the Emirates, which fundamentally raises the question as to how the $5 billion worth of gold can be accounted for. Clearly, it suggests that the difference, which is $5 billion, had actually gone through smuggling to the Emirates. And that is why the Bank of Ghana wasn't able to record those shipments. So clearly, the situation Gold Board has inherited is one of massive smuggling. The sector in terms of gold trade was dominated by foreigners who will repatriate the benefits, the forex benefits of the trade back to their home countries, depriving Ghana of the scarcely, badly needed forex to shore up our local currency.
I see. So, Doc, essentially what you're trying to say is that the setting up of Gold Board has been a game changer.
Yes, it was to address the problem of smuggling in the gold sector so that Ghana can reap the full benefits of its gold exports. So that was the reason. And if you look at the Gold Board Statute of Establishment, 1140, you find clearly that Gold Board is mandated to institute a traceability scheme to be able to trace gold from the mine all the way to the market. The essence is to prevent illicit gold from entering the supply chain in accordance with the guidelines of the OECD and the Financial Action Task Force.
How, per your understanding, is Gold Board supposed to execute this? How does it do its work?
Right. Let me first explain that our previous attempts at stemming illegal mining in this country has been to resort to brute force. So we've had different types of task force trying to use force to stop illegal mining. These have not worked. And time has come for us to reconsider the strategy. And I think Gold Board in that sense is a game changer because it combines compliance enforcement with incentives, which is a way for Ghana to go. Let's make the point that when you use force, you drive the business underground. Look, I think sometime in 2019, 2018, thereabout, the then government declared a moratorium on all forms of mining in this country. And that was the year Ghana exported its largest volume of gold out of this country. So ask yourself who were mining. On this occasion, Gold Board is providing incentives in terms of higher guaranteed price. Look, before Gold Board entered the market, there were established relationships between gold buyers, most of who are foreigners, and the Ghanaian gold miners. In fact, a lot of the miners were being pre-financed by these foreigners in exchange for the gold. Now, for Gold Board to penetrate that market, it needs to be very strategic and innovative. And so, at that time, gold was being traded at about 1 to 2% discount. If Gold Board entered the market and also provided 1 to 2% discount, there is no way it was going to be able to take control of the market. So certainly it needed to provide higher incentive than what the foreigners were offering at the time. So Gold Board decided to buy the gold at the going market rate, international market rate, so that it will become attractive for Ghanaian miners to sell their gold to the Gold Board.
Okay.
That is a way to outbid the foreigners, but that comes at a cost. And the cost is your operation cost, which the Bank of Ghana decided to absorb because Gold Board was not trading on its own. It was trading as an agent for the Bank of Ghana in building up reserves for the country.
Now, I asked an earlier question about, per your understanding of the operations of Gold Board, how does Gold Board go about buying this gold, and who finances them? What do they do with the gold that they buy, etc.? Educate us on how the model works.
Right. I think between between Gold Board and Bank of Ghana, they haven't been very proactive in their public outreach and communication. But I recently discovered something innovative, something beautiful that Bank of Ghana is doing to be able to finance its gold purchases. Ghanaians will remember time past when even to purchase cocoa, will go and raise syndicated loan from Europe to come and buy our cocoa. Ghanaians will also recall during the previous government's era, we will, for instance, go and raise money from the Eurobond market to come and shore up our cedi. Now, what the Bank of Ghana is doing now, which I found out recently, is that it does not print money to buy gold. It does not raise loan to buy gold. What it does is that it convenes a meeting of all the commercial banks and informs them of how much it intends to inject into the forex market. Then the commercial banks will indicate how much of the dollars they will need. Then the Bank of Ghana will ask them to bring the cedi equivalent of the dollars they will need. This cedi equivalent is passed on to the Gold Board. The Gold Board buys the gold and then gives it to Bank of Ghana, and then it is given to Bank of Ghana's off-takers. The gold is exported and we get the dollars. The dollars are returned to the commercial banks to replace the cedi equivalent of the dollars that we took from them earlier. So this is a brilliant scheme for financing domestic gold purchases that I think even Cocoa Board can learn from.
But Doc, what used to be the situation before under PMMC?
Well, under PMMC, especially when PMMC was mandated to procure gold for the Gold for Oil program, my committee, the Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, did an assessment and made some recommendations. First and foremost, for the government to disclose how it was financing its gold purchases, because there was no budgetary allocation. So we needed to understand where we were getting the money from. It turned out that the Bank of Ghana printed money, okay, to finance its gold purchases, for which reason we saw an escalation of inflation during the period. Right. So when we were negotiating the IMF program, I'm sure this came to the attention of the IMF, and it advised government to pull out of the Gold for Oil program. There are other concerns with the Gold for Oil program that we raised. We didn't know who were the intermediaries in terms of the sale of the gold on the international market and then the procurement of petroleum products. So my committee requested the PMMC and the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana to disclose who these intermediaries were and at what commission we were procuring the oil products in exchange for the gold sales. But we never got a response from government at the time. The long and short of it is that government or Bank of Ghana printed money to finance PMMC in its gold purchasing program.
Wow, that's shocking. Now, it's interesting you just explained this to us, because the initial impression we got was that the central bank was pumping some billions of dollars into the system and wasn't getting anything returned.
Yes, of course, if you are buying gold, you pump billions of dollars into the system. You want to provide the money to procure the gold. Mind you, it's cedis that you need. So you pump cedis, you use the cedis to buy the gold. But the innovation in this current strategy is that Bank of Ghana didn't have to print money. It just sourced the money from the commercial banks, bought the gold brought in the dollars and used the dollars to help shore up the Ghanaian local currency. And this has translated into cascading benefits for the larger economy. We've seen inflation coming down. We've seen fuel prices very stable. We've seen our dollar very stable. And so businesses can plan their imports and all that. So the larger economy has benefited. And let's say even if we incur the cost of 214 million, if you focus on that alone, then you are only looking at one side of the equation. You need to look at the other side. We actually lost 214 million to generate what benefits for the economy. That is what many people are not looking at this time.
So essentially what you're saying is that when the IMF in its fifth review of Ghana's program under the Extended Credit Facility scheme says that in 2025 through end Q3, losses from the artisanal and small-scale Dory gold transactions component of G4R have reached $214 million, which represents 0.2% of GDP, mostly on trading losses, but also on gold board off-taker fees. And the fact that these are losses from artisanal and small-scale Dory gold transactions under the program, which has reached $214 million, as I did indicate. And that for them is a loss. And it is something that bothers the IMF. From your analysis, are you suggesting this is really much ado about nothing?
Yes, it is. Let's also not forget that there were times when our CD was in trouble. We'll head to the Eurobond market to borrow to come and shore up the city. The monies we borrowed from the Euro market were not free money. We had to pay back in foreign currency and at pretty high interest rate, between 10 and 12%. If you don't consider the interest rates or the cost of those borrowings as a loss to the state, then I don't see how you consider the 214 million supposed loss as negative for the economy.
Now, Doc, help us understand something. Now, before we even get to this whether profits or loss matter on the side of the central bank, was the gold board, by its fiscal, its policy design, created to or set up to make profit or loss necessarily for playing that intermediation or intermediary role?
I've heard this question a few times, and my reference in terms of a response has been to the Gold Board Statute of Establishment, Act 1140. And it is quite clear that Gold Board was set up as a mechanism to help stabilize the forex market, the local currency. So you see by and large that the company, that the Gold Board, has a quasi-commercial function. Because for you to be able to help shore up the local currency, you need to get involved in gold trading. But gold trading with the purpose, primary purpose of bringing in enough dollars so that Ghanaian businessmen will be able to access dollars at a lower cost. And I think that is the overriding function of the Gold Board. And to achieve that, it has to be able to regulate market. So it's also a regulator. So it's a quasi-commercial, quasi-regulatory body. That's what I glean from reading the Act of Establishment of the Gold Board.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, then says they are yet to fully roll out their mandate, and that for 2025, they've just maintained more or less the PMMC status quo. And that if you look at the act, so again, you've walked us through some of the objectives, but there's quite a number of them. One, to achieve the object under Section 2, the Gold Board shall be responsible for the marketing of the gold resources of the country, set standards on the quality, purity, and weight of gold gold sold in, stored in, or exported from the country in compliance with international best practices. Ensure value addition to the gold of the country, including regulating the local fabrication of gold into castings, mints, jewelry, coins, bars, bullion, industrial components, or other forms of value storage. Buy a portion or all of the gold produced by large-scale mining companies in line with the preemption rights of government exercised by the minister responsible for mines under Section 7 of the Minerals and Mining Act 206, Act 703. And it goes on and on and on and on. So the head of that institution says, look, we haven't even started yet. We're taxing more or less, if you look at the aviation sector. We're yet to set off. Do you, from where you sit, see same, which is that, look, they are yet to really fully roll out their full mandate?
You see, what many Ghanaian commentators are not aware of is the fact that Gold Board only recently completed its recruitment exercise.
Okay.
It is still setting up. When you go to the offices, you'll find that the office furnitures and other office equipment they need are not complete. The recruitment was undertaken by KPMG on behalf of the Gold Board, and it was completed sometime about a month or 2 months ago. So I think it would be unfair to expect that all the functions that you read of the Gold Board will be met within this short period. One of the things mandated by the Act establishing the Gold Board is the introduction of a traceability system. I'm aware Gold Board has received a lot of proposals, and they are currently reviewing them to be able to select a vendor to be able to put together a traceability system that prevents illicit gold from entering the system. Again, I personally, when the Gold Board developed its operational instruments and application documents, let me disclose that I work as a senior technical advisor for the UK Ghana Gold Program. The UK Ghana Gold Program is a UK Home Office support to the government of Ghana in dealing with illegalities in the mining sector, especially in the small-scale mining sector. And we have a memorandum of understanding to provide technical support to the Gold Board. So we took all the operational instruments and their law and reviewed them from the perspective of how they respond to Ghana's international obligations. One, the Financial Action Task Force, whose sub-regional body is the Intergovernmental Agency Against Money Laundering in West Africa, GIABA. And again, we reviewed them in terms of how they respond to the OECD guidelines on responsible mineral sourcing. These two documents require that Ghana took steps to enhance its due diligence process. So in terms of licensing, you need to know who you award trading licenses to. And so to this regard, the Gold Board is working closely with the Financial Intelligence Center. All applications for licenses are referred to the Financial Intelligence Center for vetting and assessment against money laundering risk. A feedback is given to Gold Board, and then Gold Board will proceed with other levels of the customer due diligence, which includes a police background check of the applicant. All these things are intended to rid the sector of illegalities. So when we did our review, we saw some gaps And so the UK Ghana Gold Program convened a meeting between the Financial Intelligence Center that is responsible for the implementation of the Anti-Money Laundering Act in Ghana, and then the Gold Board. So we met at Holiday Inn, and together, facilitated by the UK Ghana Gold Program, we went through all the documents and highlighted the gaps and make proposals for bridging the gaps. Gold Board on that same day quickly incorporated all the proposed amendments and returned them back for a review. We looked at them together with the Financial Intelligence Center and we gave them the go-ahead. But there are still gaps that remain in the primary act that ought to be addressed. So we flagged them for future amendments. I say this for Ghanaians to understand that Gold Board is an innovative approach to enhancing our benefits from our gold trade. It may not be perfect at this time because it doesn't have a precedent to be able to follow. What the precious mineral marketing company was doing did not reflect in the stabilization of our local currency. What the Gold Board is doing is reflecting in the stabilization of our local currency, which means we are doing something right. Let all those who have ideas to contribute to this project do so. And in fact, the Gold Board Act requires Gold Board to publish quarterly reports. And it says the reports must be publicly disclosed. And citizens who have suggestions in terms of how this project can be improved should send feedback to the Gold Board. So rather than pulling down the house, I will encourage all Ghanaians to share ideas. See how we can actually make the best out of this initiative.
That's interesting. My penultimate question to you, Doc, is this. There was a revolving fund of some 279 million US dollars, which was supposed to be given to Gold Board to start its operations. Now, per our checks, that money has not been made available to them. So what Gold Board has essentially been doing is to, as you rightly said, to act as an intermediary. So they collect money on the bank on behalf of their clients, and they buy gold for them. In some cases, they sell. Now, I want to understand that some have said this temporary shift in what I call, in the way Gold Board does its work, has also then threatened the finances, or has threatened the work operations of the Bank of Ghana. I don't know where you stand on this matter, and that we must get to a point where Gold Board itself must go and find money from somewhere and buy the gold for their clients and collect the money from their clients. I don't know what you think about this.
Yeah, at the time when the 2025 budget was read, I think some amount of money was allocated to the Gold Board.
Yes, 279.
Exactly. Now, as at now, that money has not been disbursed.
Yes.
And so in the Ghana EITI report, which will be published by 31st of December in a few days, would actually has actually commented on this. The observation is that in future, when monies are disbursed to institutions like Gold Board, when they are allocated in the budget to institutions like the Gold Board, the Minister of Finance will ensure that the Gold Board gets the money to do the work. Where, for whatever reason, the monies are not disbursed, the Minister of Finance is advised to provide an explanation in his mid-year budget. So that is one observation that we make. Again, we have observed that the relationship between the Gold Board and Bank of Ghana was not made public. So we recommend that in future, any trading relationship between the gold board and any third party must be publicly disclosed, especially the financial relationship and the allocation of risk and benefits. It's important that we know. If we had known all these earlier, I don't think we would be going through this, debate at this time.
Let me end with this. So Erastus Asare, who we all know to be, call it our anti-galamsey, foremost reporter. Now he put something up on his wall, and it's been trending. It says, "Let us not demonize gold board. The absence of it is dangerous. Let's rather work to make it better. We cannot destroy our environment and lose the gold to Chinese and Indian smugglers." Do you find this apt?
This is a comment from a responsible and a patriotic citizen. We need to be reminded of the fact that illegal mining had gone on even under previous governments. But Ghana did not derive any benefit from the illegals, from the trading of the resource, which is the product of illegal mining. And the benefit was largely going to foreigners. If we are going to suffer the environmental damage, then the benefits of that exercise must go to Ghanaians. But we should, of course, take steps to minimize the environmental toll. And to do this is the reason the Gold Board is required to establish a traceability system. Yeah. A time will come when the chain of custody of gold from the mine to the market will be documented. And this will make it difficult for illegal gold to enter the supply chain. What I mean is, you see the way you sell your car? You buy a car, you are the original owner, so all the car documents are with you. When you sell the car to another person, you do transfer of ownership. And when that person also sells to another person, he also does transfer of ownership. So you can trace the people who have been in possession of the car all the way to the original owner.
Okay.
This is where the Gold Board is heading towards. And once we get there, you find that the strategy has actually justified the ends. Now, again, let me also indicate that Gold Board does not intend to continue buying gold at zero discount. In fact, what we're discussing now is an arrangement between Gold Board and Bank of Ghana. But Gold Board recently concluded consultations with gold miners and traders in respect of a mutually acceptable discount rate for their gold trade. And this will go into implementation in 2026. So from 2026 going, Gold Board will not be buying gold at the going international market price, but at a discount to be able to cover its operations. The Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners can attest to this, and also the traders.
All right. Doc, I'm not going to keep you for too long. I know that you are also an Ebusia Penyi. I know that you have you have many people who actually depend and rely on you for all kinds of things, and they come to you especially in the mornings for you to attend to them. So I wouldn't want to take too much of your time, but somebody just drew my attention to something that you posted on your page, and I thought it was quite interesting. You said you're saying that, oh, okay, so you're asking us to be good citizens. And that if we have any ideas on how we can make this work even better, we should offer them and stop pulling down their house. What was your motivation for putting this one out?
You see, Ghana is blessed to have a very receptive and responsive government. If you look at the process leading to the establishment of the Gold Board, it was very participatory, very consultative. A lot of our CSOs had the opportunity to engage with the process. We made suggestions in terms of how it can be improved. Some were accepted, others were not. But we are happy with the final outcome of the arrangement to ensure that Ghana optimizes benefits from its gold resources. But we didn't say we have a perfect situation. But as we go along, I expect every good citizen who has knowledge and expertise in this area to provide them to the Gold Board so that they will be incorporated and make the whole experiment much better. Not too long ago, I was in Zambia, sorry. I was in Zambia and attending an international conference on the mining sector with focus on green minerals. And I discovered that there's so much interest in what the Gold Board is doing. And many international observers inform me that they want to pay a visit to Ghana to learn from the Gold Board experiment. So if we can all support the process, there is a way in which Gold Board that we see today will become an international best model for managing gold resources and other natural resources of resource-dependent countries. So I think we need to support it. I mean, we should not allow politics to destroy mechanisms put in place to help us optimize our value from our natural resources.
Well, I listened to an interview that Sammy Gyamfi granted yesterday, and he sounded a bit, I don't want to use angry, not angry, but he sounded a bit frustrated with what appears to be an attempt to demonize the institution, and he kept referring to what used to be what used to be the case in the past and how things have improved, now, and yet some critics want to paint a different picture. I guess that you would want to have a word of encouragement or motivation for him this morning. I'm sure that he's watching.
Yeah, yes, it can be frustrating when you are doing something with the best of intentions and you find people trying to distract you from your mission. But I've known Sammy Gyamfi for a while, a very smart guy and all that. I think the attack on the Gold Board is all because of Sammy Gyamfi. If you put another person there, okay, all this noise will stop. I mean, and it all comes out of envy. My advice to him is that he's doing a good job. He should remain focused. He's got majority of Ghanaians behind him. And so he should not feel or not be distracted by the very few people who are making so much noise about this 214 million loss incurred by the Bank of Ghana. Would rather make losses to stabilize our economy and lay the foundation for economic growth than to make no losses and yet have no impact on the macro economy and run an economy with very high inflation, high exchange rate, and then high fuel prices, high inflation and everything. I mean, we've gotten to a point where I think the benefits of the Gold Board activities outweigh the losses.
Dr. Steve Mantea, thank you very much for your time. It's been wonderful talking to you, and the compliments of the season once again, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank
you for having me.
Sure. That's Dr. Steve Mantea. He's a policy analyst and also a natural resource governance advocate, talking to us on Good Morning Ghana. Just in case you just tuned us now.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. click on the bell to turn on the notification.